Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and here's a quick orchid update because I have some really exciting news I can't wait to share with you. The first plant I want to talk about today is this Dendrobium, and it's a Latouria type Dendrobium Spectabile. And the exciting news with this particular one is that I have noticed here on the side of the pseudobulbs. So there are white patches just here and here, and this is where the flower spikes will come from eventually. So I think that this plant is thinking about flowering. Now I've decreased watering. And I know it's a long old haul. It'll be a long while before these actually show flowers, if it is actually going to flower. But it's definitely a step in the right direction. And speaking of the wonderful Latouria Dendrobiums, look at this other one here. Now this one is a relatively new purchase. I got that from Wexford, and I'll put a link to it up above. But when I got it, it was actually in, do you call this sheath or spike? But they had these brown things at the top. And I knew it was thinking about flowering, but I couldn't bear to leave the plant in the pot it was already in because it was really squashed and it was potted with sphagnum. And I didn't fancy keeping it in sphagnum all winter. So I repotted it, full sure that I was going to lose these flowers. But if we look over here, look at that! I think the Latourias are going to be my new best friend. And behind it here is Oncidium Twinkle. Not very long ago I was giving out about the fact that it only had one flower spike, but look at it now. It's absolutely covered in flower spikes everywhere, as a Twinkle should be. So I'm really looking forward to them all to be in flower very soon. Wonderful. And this Oncidium here, which is also a new purchase, I bought this in the summer. It's featured in the video Good Oncidium Week, and it's sent up a flower spike, so that's really exciting. And then over here we have a little noid Cattleya, which, well, anyway, I'm pleased. It's in spike. We can see here. Now, unfortunately, oops, did you see that? It just fell off. So this Cattleya has two spikes, this one, and unfortunately one of the buds has blast. And there's a second spike with fewer flowers over the other side. Two buds, and one of them has blasted. Can we see that? Yeah. So that's a shame, but still, stuff to look forward to. The last two plants I want to show you today are this Oncidium here, Tahitian Dancer. And I featured this in a video last year. It's a nice, reliable, purple flowered one. And I'm very pleased that it's come into spike. There's a spike, because it was given a lot less light this year than it had been before. Kind of an experiment to see, because I've less and less space actually up against the window, so I have to experiment with some of the orchids that I think are a bit more sturdy and try and move them back from the light and see if they'll still flower. And this was one of the experiments. Not to mention the fact that this one was divided this year, and well, the division was sent off to Andrea, who now has an orchid channel. She won it as my subscription prize, so that was good. And I want to show you then lastly, right beside this Coelogyne that I got in spring. Now you may recall that this Coelogyne came without roots. It was 3 pieces, and I potted them up in sphagnum. Now it's very interesting because they were 3 separate pieces, and I think we can really see the story of all rescue stories laid out clearly here. Because of the 3 pieces, one is doing really well. See, nice plump pseudobulbs. 2, this one here, is doing quite badly. These are quite wrinkled. And number 3 is somewhere in between the two. So in trying to rescue these three by you know, getting them to grow roots, they've all had exactly the same conditions, yet each has a different story to tell. So I think that's just really a good indication of what we're up against when trying to deal with orchids. That's all for the moment. I hope you liked this update, and if so, please check back again for lots more stuff. Bye now.